Alright, so the what if today is an often pondered question when it comes to the character of Thor. And what if he got Stormbreaker a little bit earlier than in the original? When do I mean? Against the fight with Hela, whose strength on Asgard was limitless, and not even his lightning powers alone when he lost Mjolnir could stop her. They had to reduce themselves to bringing Surtur to destroy Asgard just to kill her. But Thor still was in a fight until then, allowing himself to live. Now, let's ponder the question. What if Thor had Stormbreaker? Would this matter in the long run? Well, we're going to discuss that. Now, to set the scene, after Mjolnir is broken, we would have to assume that either Thor meets up with the Guardians, and they do it that way, and just don't meet Thanos, and just Thor makes the weapon that way. Or also the Guardians of the Galaxy could also be there to help Thor against the battle with Hela. Or after his stay on Sakaar, and him, Hulk, Valkyrie, and Loki are going back to Asgard, we get to make another weapon then. Either or. Hence, we would have the Stormbreaker. Now, people are asking if there are mixed opinions on this matter. People say that since Hela was so easily able to destroy Mjolnir without a second thought once it was thrown in her direction, that Stormbreaker would just as easily be dealt with. On one end, people debate that. But on the other, people say that even while being on Asgard, that Thor, since the Stormbreaker could summon the Bifrost, that he could just teleport her off Asgard and then just kill her right then and there. But I think his thoughts would be clouded with nothing but wanting to kill her. I don't think that thought would come across his mind. Now, for the battle, people say that since Thor with the Stormbreaker could easily almost kill Thanos with all the stones, that this would be almost an instant victory and not even a trouble for Thor. Well, unfortunately, no. As stated in Marvel, and just by me now, Hela on Asgard is basically immortal. She cannot be defeated, even if Thor had that Stormbreaker. She's been stabbed through the gut by a soldier from Asgard and still was fighting and just regenerated. Asgard is basically her domain, so having Stormbreaker wouldn't change. It would help Thor in the long run of the battle. And this would shock Hela because, you know, he was nothing before and now he's just suddenly got all this new power and everything else. Definitely would have been better for his character way sooner than, like, what he got against Hela. I mean, him unlocking the lightning without the use of a weapon was very cool. I am not 100% against that. But I am just saying that him getting that Stormbreaker would have definitely been, like, a much better equal against Hela. It would be an even fight for the moment, with Thor slowly starting to take damage. Up until Surtur comes, that pretty much goes down as normal. But when Thanos' ship comes, one big difference. Thanos and the Black Order are basically eliminated then and there. For a few reasons. I know people are going to argue this. It might seem obvious when it comes to the actual conclusion of this, but I'm just saying this for the haters that are not going to like what I say, basically. You know how Thor basically one-shotted Thanos with all the stones with his Stormbreaker. Hela is a different thing, like I said, because of her immortality on the base of Asgard. But with none of the stones, think about it. Thanos would have only had one stone by that point. It wouldn't have even been a contest. And you saw how easily he eliminated his minions in the original. So this, Thor could take them all on instantaneously. Thanos wouldn't even have a second to actually use any of his powers. Hulk wouldn't even be required because it would just basically be a walk in the park for Thor at that point. Because Stormbreaker made him, with Mjolnir, times a frickin' 1,000. And resulting in this, Loki would still be alive. Gamora would also be alive because she wouldn't be sacrificed with the Soul Stone. Black Widow would still be around because of the instance that happened in Endgame with her sacrifice. And Endgame would have not happened at all. Thor might come down to the Earth to tell everyone of, like, what happened and everything, and that he took care of the threat just to see his old friends. But Captain America wouldn't go back in time, Iron Man would still be around, no one would have died from a snap, so yeah, everything would have honestly gone out okay. But if you think that this is where the end of the story is, you're wrong. Because there's one more instance. Spider-Man No Way Home, the most released Spider-Man movie, and something in this story that I feel like needs to be taken into account. There are a lot of things that could happen in this story, but the threats aren't as big as you might assume. Now, this goes for any Marvel What If I Do, but if you've not seen any of these movies, especially Spider-Man No Way Home, click off the video right now, because I'm going to be getting into kind of spoilers. So, whenever basically all the villains come back, Dr. Octopus, Sandman, Electro, the Green Goblin, the Chameleon, all those guys, everything, we pretty much have all of the Avengers around. And some say that they would just be off doing their own thing and wouldn't know about this. Bull crap, they wouldn't know about freaking all this catastrophe going around. It would definitely attract at least America and Tony's attention. Heck, for all we know, Hulk might still be in this because he didn't take his beating to Thanos, so Hulk and Banner, even though Hulk was the dominant personality for 2 years on Sakaar, they could still have a little bit of agreement in the lines of Hulk coming out every now and then, but it would still be, like, a problem. Anyway, for the threat, honestly, I don't think the memories of Spider-Man and everyone, I don't think they would be wiped out. Because Tony would be there, and he would likely, along with Captain America and whatever other Avengers might be in the movie, they would likely plead on Spider-Man's case of saving most of the redeemable villains, and, like, stuff like that. Doctor Strange feeling like he would probably be backed into a corner and might do this just to spite them, but I feel like that with all of them pleading on the case of Spider-Man, that he wouldn't go through with it. But that's just my opinion. Now, the redeemable villains, I think that Goblin would honestly be dealt with, and Chameleon, but I feel like Doc Ock and, what's his name? Dr. Octopus and Sandman, I feel like those two would honestly be the most redeemable, if only redeemable villains in that man. I also forgot about Electro. Him too, probably. He wasn't too bad a guy, as far as I'm concerned. Also, we would get some nice monologue between the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield side with Tony Stark and stuff, and seeing how Spider-Man grew in different universes and the Avengers being told about and everything, And both the Spider-Mans actually known a bit more about the Avengers. Because for any of you that have not watched the movie, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Mans know nothing about the Avengers. The Avengers don't exist in those timelines, in those universes, I mean. Anyway, with more Avengers around after this movie, I think that Venom would honestly become a problem in the universe. And with more Avengers around, Venom might, like... We got a post-credit scene at the end of No Way Home about Eddie Brock not believing a word about, like, Thanos and everything that happened and everything. But he would hear about the Avengers from at least somebody, and possibly even meet one of them. Now, I don't think that this would spite anything negative on the side of Eddie Brock, per se. But as for Venom, honestly, I think he would just want to go ahead and either, like, fight them or eat them or do whatever. Honestly, I don't know what would go on in Venom's head with the Avengers around. He might even want to just... He might see them as a threat. The Venom side, at least. Because Eddie Brock's character in the MCU is actually pretty freaking cool. Rather than the Tobey Maguire Venom, or Eddie Brock, where he was just a complete psychopath who wanted nothing more than to be part of Venom. Now, yeah, the Venom movies still happen as normal. Nothing really differentiates from there. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much the story. Originally, I did not think I would go as deep in depth as I did, but with the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, that definitely piqued more interest as to more of the Avengers living and actually being part of that movie. Especially Tony Stark. That would have a big impact, especially for Tom Holland's character. And Green Goblin, he might even be persuaded to live because, you know, Tobey Maguire stopped Tom Holland from killing him, and then Green Goblin backstabbed him. I don't know what would happen there, but I pretty much explained everything that needed to be explained. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's the story. So what do you guys think? Do you think the events could have gone down the way I just transcribed them? What do you think could have happened had Thor actually had Stormbreaker earlier, and especially against Hela? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next video.